Hi everyone, it's time for another info session. Today we will be focusing on a lot of different things because today we will be doing 20 tips in 20 minutes. It will be more likely like 25 minutes, but it will still be 20 tips. We have some guidelines per usual. Your microphone and cameras are turned off, so you won't be able to ask any verbal questions. However, you can use the chat to ask any questions that you might have. Remember that everything that you write there, people can see it, so don't write anything personal. If you have anything towards the personal side, then please contact me or your support. We won't go through the questions towards the info session today since we only have 25 minutes, but if you write them there, I will answer them there. So please write your questions. The info session is also recorded as usual, and you will receive an email later today or tomorrow. In this email, you will have a link to the recording. You will have a link to our playlist on YouTube where you can watch all of our recordings from this spring. And you will also get a lot of links today that is connected to all of the topics that we will talk about. And the duration of this session today is 25 minutes. And this is where you find the chat. So please write your questions there. Don't write anything personal, as I said, but please write them there. And this is the agenda. It's very simple, 20 tips in 20 minutes or 25 minutes. We are going to focus on these areas, so I will give you tips under all these areas. And by the end of the session today, you will probably walk away with practical insights that you can apply in your daily work with ExFlow. So that will help you to streamline your processes and make the workflow more efficient. And as I said, we will also send you an email later today with the links that are helpful. So let's start. The first tip is to explore our documentation platform. We will include a link to this in the email as well. And our documentation platform is your go-to resource for all your things related to our products. So it features our online manual, it has release notes, and you get quick access to our video tutorials. And you also have a search function located in top right that you can use to find what you need. In addition to today's topics, you'll also find details there regarding our other solutions and products, such as web, and also to our product sales order, CO2 Insight, Content Gate, and Travel and Expense. So whether you're looking for a quick how-to guide or want to dive deeper into our latest updates, this is where you find the information. Let's move on to our user-related things. So tip number 2 is how to block a user and unblock a user. So let's say a user is leaving the company and you need to remove their access. So this you can do in an efficient way and give a new user access to history. So you go to ExFlow users and you search for a specific user. Open that user card and then you click on block unblock user and then you will get this window. And when you block a user, you can give a new user access. You will see 2 options on the right here. One of them is, one second, there we go. One of them is access history, which will give access to historical documents. And the other one is to replace the user in all of the approval rules for that user that you're blocking. So by enabling these 2 options, you can seamlessly transfer access and responsibilities without having to do all of the work manually by yourself. Tip number 3 is sending reminders. You might have, or you probably have, a scheduled daily job, which is great because then it will send out reminders automatically for you. You also have the option to send out more reminders. So you can do this for individual documents or in bulk. The most common way is, as I said, to set a daily scheduled job. But if you want to send out, you can do it in several ways. So you could go to approval status, and there you can select a single document and click on send reminder. And then the current approver will receive an email with the relevant document details in that. Or you can select multiple or all lines to notify all of the users like in a bulk. And the approvers will receive one email listing all of the pending documents they're responsible for. Or you can go to the user card, search for the user you want to send reminders for, and then you click on send reminder. And then don't forget to set your replacers before summer vacation, because summer is just around the corner and that means vacation time for some of us. And before you head out, make sure that you add your replacers or give information on how to add your replacers to your coworkers. So there are two easy ways to do it, either like this, that you can see on the screen in Business Central. Go to the user, you need to add a replacer for, choose if it's for all companies or just one, and then you fill out all of the information. Or you can go to the web, and the users can do this themselves also in the web. So they just click on the replacer icon on the left part of the screen and then fill out the information. And they can also see if they are currently acting as a replacer for someone else here. And something important to know is that while a replacer is active, both the original user and the replacer can approve documents, but only one approval is needed, so both of them don't have to approve them. And this makes the document to move in the approval process forward. And let's move on to some things related to import journal. So if you prefer working in Excel, you can simply download this file, and it will give you an Excel file with the format that you need. You fill out the Excel, fill out the lines in Excel, and then when you're finished, you go back to Actions here and click on Import Lines from Excel to import the updates that you want to add. So it's fast, it's flexible, and it's a way to handle multiple lines, especially when you're working with like a large volume of data. And tip number 6, you can block a document from being created, as you can see here in the import journal, or posted in the approval status. So either you do it in the import journal, which means that you can block it from being created, and then you can, for example, batch create all of the other documents. So this allows you to leave selected documents untouched while proceeding with the others. In approval status, you can also block a document from being posted. You can set that block already in the import journal, but you can also set it on the card in approval status. So if you set that block and you are attempting to post documents, the system will show a message indicating that you have a block on that document. And if you want to remove it, you do it, take away the block in the same place where you add it on the card in approval status. Tip number 7 is to use the save coding to vendor option in the import journal. So if you want to save time on your reoccurring invoices, then you can use a function called ExFlow purchase codes. And we have this option in the import journal, which is called save coding to vendor. So when you have a document with details that you want to save as a purchase code directly on the vendor card, you can simply click on save coding to vendor, and it will be saved then to your vendor card. And you will also see this under ExFlow purchase codes. So what this means is that when you save a purchase code to that vendor, it means that whenever you receive a document from that vendor, the save coding will be automatically applied when you receive a document from the vendor. So you save time, and it also reduces the risk of manual errors. Tip number 8 is to use the select more per line. So maybe you have in import journal a few documents that you want to create. You don't want to batch create or only create one. Then you can click on the dots and click on select more and mark the ones that you want to create. You can also in approval status do the same thing. You click on the dots, select more, and then you can post the ones that you choose as well. So then you don't have to do only one or all. That's all for the import journal tips. Next, we'll take a look at 2 tips focusing on approval status. So the first one is highlight rejected and overdue documents in approval status. So if you want a quick visual cue for spotting rejected and overdue documents, then you can use this function. And what this one does is it's highlighting lines in red in approval status if it's rejected or overdue. So to activate this, you go to ExFlow Setup, you scroll down to Escalation, and then you enable this option as you can see on the right here of the screen. And in the window, you can see that it says number of overdue days before highlighting. So if you're entering a 0 here, it means that the line will turn red on the due date. So this makes it much, much easier to quickly identify any delays or rejected documents without you having to scroll through all of the lines manually. Tip number 10, it's a function or a setting called always propose new approvers. So approval rules and dynamic approval rules in ExFlow allow the system to automatically detect and apply correct approval flow, even when you do changes or if your users do changes in ExFlow Web. This also is made possible through this setting. So when you enable this, ExFlow will update any information or approval rules based on the latest changes, and you don't have to do anything manually then. So for example, let's say that you have approval rules that are based on dimensions, let's say departments, and a user updates a document on the web and change the department from administration to sales. Then the user approved the document, and after this, with this setting, ExFlow will automatically check whether a different approval rule is more appropriate based on the new dimension value. And if it is, it will apply the new rule. So this ensures that the right people are always involved in the approval process, even when the document details change midway through the process. That concludes our 2 tips on approval status. Let's look at reports. So we have different kind of reports. The areas of them are documents, it's users, and approval rules. And if you hover over the different topics, you get some information of or description of what each report includes. 2 of our most popular reports is, for example, ExFlow user replacers. So if you want to keep an eye on who are replacing who during the vacation time this summer, you can create a report, and you can see the current and past replacers. And you can choose if you want it in Word, PDF, or Excel, for example. Another report is ExFlow Approval Status Report. So this displays all documents awaiting approval and those that have not been posted yet. So you can use filters to select specific periods and document statuses. And you can also create a journal from the filter documents, which then allows you to post costs in the correct month and reverse them if the document hasn't been approved or posted in time. So these reports and the other reports are useful for insight in your workflow, and you can find more information on them on our documentation platform. let's move on to our functions. And if you're not using the functions that I'm going to show you or talk to you about now, we strongly recommend that you look into it because they make the work so much easier. So the first one is ExFlow purchase codes. So as I mentioned earlier, this saves a lot of time and it reduces your manual work. And purchase codes can be connected to vendors, references, contracts, and it can be also directly set up in ExFlow Setup. If you frequently receive reoccurring invoices from a vendor with the same lines, then create a purchase code and add it to the vendor card or use the save coding to vendor. And you can also use these codes to split lines, for example. You can do it based on percentages on the amounts. You can have fixed amounts. You don't have to add amounts as well. You can add dimensions. You can apply deferral codes and so much more. So this makes the job so much easier for you, and it also helps to save time and make your work consistent all the time. So yeah, let's move on to ExFlow reference codes. So this is a very powerful tool for applying logic to invoices when you import documents with a reference. And when you do that, it's triggering a specific action during the import process. So for example, with a reference, you can automatically trigger actions like assigning approvers, vendors, dimensions, specific accounts on lines, and much more. And a reference that can be a name, it can be a phone number, it can be a variation of spelling, or it can be any other unique value that ExFlow can interpret. You can also use related reference values, for example, as we show on the screen. So for example, if vendors spell names differently or incorrectly, you can add this as a related reference value, which then connects that value to your reference code if it will be interpreted. You can also streamline your workflow, so you can use a setting called automatically create ExFlow reference codes in ExFlow Setup. And this means that when you create a new ExFlow user, then you will also automatically create a reference code for that user. And then ExFlow contracts, which gives you full control over your reoccurring documents. For example, it can be leases, telephone bills, rental products, and more. And it helps streamline your processes by setting up contracts based on your external terms. And with this, you can keep an eye on your documents from this vendor, for example. So you can see that you get the correct amount of documents with the correct amounts, and also that nothing goes out of what the contract says. If everything matches, ExFlow can automatically approve the invoices as well, meaning you don't have to do it manually. You can also set up direct posting if you want the documents to be posted as well directly. So you have control over these, and the posting process is automatic if you want it to be as well. And before using a contract, you could also configure ExFlow Omni approval to have another user look at the contract in Business Central and approve the configuration if you want to. When you use ExFlow contracts, you see an overview of the statistics. You can see the numbers of documents and when you receive them. You can also see the amounts and so on. ExFlow contracts also support self-billing, which is useful for regular payments to a vendor without you receiving invoices. So you can set up automatic or manual creation of these invoices per contract. So we're going over the functions now. Let's move on to some automation settings that can help streamline your workflow even more. So tip number 15 is to use ExFlow Vendor Setup. This is a place where you can see options tailored to your individual vendors and ExFlow. You can access this by searching for it, or you have shortcuts in ExFlow Setup or the import journal. Here you can, per vendor, add approval rules, predefine accounts, and purchase codes, and so much more. You can also use automation options at the vendor level, such as background processing, and I will talk about that soon. You can, for example, set up that you should automatically post documents. So this is where you find all specific vendors and ExFlow settings. If you're using ExFlow data capture, then this tip will help you. So once you have processed several documents in EDC or ExFlow data capture, the system will learn what to capture regards to the relevant information for future documents. So when the system has learned enough, you can enable this setting. So you click on the little pen, as you can see up on the right part of the screen here, and then you tick the Allow Complete Documents to Bypass Verification. So what this does is that if for that chosen vendor, everything is captured correctly and everything is green, the document will be processed and automatically moved to Business Central. So you don't have to do any verification manually. So you set it up here, or if you are an administrator, you can also do it when you log in as well. Tip number 17 is to auto import verified documents. So documents that have been verified in ExFlow data capture and have the status of export in progress can be imported automatically into Business Central using a job queue entry. And the job queue entry will handle the import process in Business Central, so it reduces manual work. And you can set the import frequency in the job queue to minimize the wait time between the verification in EDC and the actual import in Business Central. And if you're unfamiliar with job queue entries, please contact your support and they can help you and support you through this process. Tip number 18 is to auto-create documents, and you enable this if all interpret documents should be automatically created from the import journal. When you enable this, all interpret documents without errors or warning messages, they will be automatically created and sent out for approval. You can do this on vendor level, per vendor in ExFlow vendor setup, or you can, as you can see here on the screen, create a batch. So you can do it per batch level, for example. You can also do this for all vendors under ExFlow setup. So when this is activated, interpret documents for the selected vendor will automatically be created from the ExFlow import journal, provided that there are no errors or warnings. And number 19 is to automate your invoice posting by bypassing the verify changes step. So this function allows you to automate the invoice posting process for approved documents by bypassing the verify changes step in approval status. And this is for specified values on ExFlow web columns. So you activate this in ExFlow setup, and then you add the allowed values that should bypass the verification step. So for example, some specific accounts. And this means that in the web, the approver can modify the GL accounts with this filter. And if the web approver makes any changes to the code within the allowed values filter, then the approved document will automatically bypass from the manual handling part of verify changes. So you don't have to verify changes manually on those documents in approval status. So once the document is approved, its status will change from approved to ready for posting, making it a much faster posting process. And then tip number 20, the last one, to wrap things up. In ExFlow setup, you find some automation settings, and these can help streamline your processes. So you find it if you go to ExFlow setup and background processing. So scroll down almost all the way down. And these settings apply to all of your vendors. However, some of these settings can be activated on vendor level only as well. So here you find 4 settings. The first 2 are verify with job queue and verify and post with job queue. And what these settings do to your documents is that they will verify documents automatically in the approval status, or verify and then post if no changes have been made to the documents on the web by your users. So if you take these 2 jobs are set up that run in the background. You can also have verify changes done automatically. So you can see it on the right here. And this one runs automatically at all times. And this simply means that if no changes are made on the web by your users, then the document will automatically be marked with the status ready to be posted. So meaning you don't have to verify all the documents manually. So you save time by doing that as well. The last one here I mentioned in tip number 18, which then will, in the import journal, create documents automatically. So these were the 20 tips we had today. Of course, there are so many more things that you can do. These are just a few of the many settings and functions that we have in ExFlow to help you. And to get help or find out how you can improve your use of ExFlow and your processes, please don't hesitate to reach out to your support. And that's it. So thank you for joining us today. We have 1 info session left this spring. We will send out invitations to the fall info sessions after the summer. The last info session is on May 13th, and we will be sharing then 10 tips in 10 minutes about ExFlow travel and expense. So it's a compact and valuable session for those of you that already use that product, but also for you that are curious about what it can do and how it can simplify your expense reporting process. So short to the point and packed with inspiration. See you there, hopefully, and have a great day, everyone.